Just because you're making a 1% change doesn't mean you're not making progress. In fact, it means you're making the ample amount of negotiable, manageable, changeable, usable, implementable progress. Hype or legit? Game changing or garbage?
This is What's Hot and What's Not, where we put today's biggest self-help trends under the microscope.
All right, let's break this one down. The hot or not is breath work. We have all these listed out beforehand, so this is pretty awesome. Yes. All right, so what do you think about breath work?
I think it's hot.
I think it's very hot, red hot.
But I also did not for a long time. I just thought people were like, honestly, I thought it was kind of stupid because I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand why it worked. It's literally like if your computer is running slowly, what does IT always tell you to do? Just restart your computer and see if that fixes the issue. This is like a restart for your brain. Yep. When your brain is overactive in its limbic system, it says, hold on, let me downregulate my limbic system, i.e., turn the volume down on the danger that my brain is perceiving right now and tap into some clearer, more calculated thinking. I can't access my smart brain if my limbic system is overactive. So I can't do any kind of brainstorming, critical thinking, problem solving if my brain has limbic system activation. So that's why breath work works.
Yeah. It's literally telling you you're not running away from the bear.
Yeah.
What happens when we get excited? We have shortness of breath.
Mm-hmm.
Our heart rate increases. We start to sweat.
I mean, think about it.
And our muscles get tight. But why? Why does that happen? That happens because your body is saying, I need to get ready to run. Because when I start running, I'm going to use up all the oxygen in my muscle groups. I'm going to require more, meaning I'm going to require more blood. So I'm going to go ahead and prep this system to get the fuck out of here.
Think about when you're riding a roller coaster and you know that you're like inching up the roller coaster very, 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 very slowly. And you know that as soon as you get to the top, you're in for like a huge flight down the roller coaster, right? Like you're about to go down at a rapid pace. Yep. And before you're going up, what happens? It feels like your stomach is about to be up in your throat.
Yeah.
And it is the exact same feeling when we get stressed or we get anxious about something. It's the same feeling. And then what happens? You go down the roller coaster, and after that, you what? Take a deep breath because you're like, I made it.
Yeah.
But usually then the roller coaster keeps going, and you might have another dip or twist and a turn, and, you know, it's fun, it's exciting. And then after you get off the roller coaster, it's like all that adrenaline is rushing through your system. And you're like, man, that was awesome. I want to do it again.
It's just, we just have to pay homage to the prehistoric brain that we have and understand that that's not because you're stupid or bad or you don't understand things. It's built to protect you. Mm-hmm. That's why if you drop a book in the middle of a quiet class, everybody jumps and looks at the book. They didn't jump and look at the book because they wanted to. They jumped and looked at the book because their limbic brain took over and said, something loud happened. This could potentially hurt me. I need to find out what it was, and directs all of your attention to that and raises your heart rate, raises your breathing patterns, and prepares you to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yep.
That's okay. But it's also equally not okay to just say, bump, that's me. That's just how I am. No, not at all. You're responsible for taking care of that system.
You don't want it to be overactive and constantly running because your body can't handle that kind of stress on an ongoing basis, especially when we live in the safest, most convenient environment that has ever existed on Earth to our knowledge as humans, right?
Yes, ever.
So
Yes. I can literally count on one hand the amount of times that I thought, oh my God, I need to get up and run.
Yeah.
Like I physically have to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So, breath work is hot.
Very hot.
Go breathe.
Go breathe, my friend. Namaste. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kiley.
Welcome to the 1%, where small shifts create big wins.
We're redefining resilience for high performers, 1% at a time, so you can keep advancing, no matter what.
Welcome back to the 1%. Today, we're going to talk about building the life that you want.
Let's go.
Yes, it's an exciting one, just like all the other ones.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. No, this one's actually pretty cool. I have 8 bullet-pointed ChatGPT generated topics to talk about.
Oh.
Yes. But first off, I want to hear what you think about creating the life that you want. You were just in a conversation with somebody talking about this exact subject.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
How do you create the life you want?
I would say the first step in the process is, 1, defining what you want, asking yourself why you want that, getting to the root of that, and then believing that it's possible, and then taking intentional action to cultivate the outcomes that you're seeking.
So build it in your head and act like it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, act like that will eventually be the outcome if you consistently take the actions that you know will get you there.
Yeah, that's my entire weightlifting career.
Mm-hmm. It's nutrition, it's anything. Like, if you want a soulmate, you can't get there if you don't take intentional action, right? Like, you can't live by yourself, get your groceries delivered, work from home, and do home workouts and never leave your house and expect your soulmate to just appear on your doorstep.
No, that'd be really weird if they did.
It's strange, right? Like, unless your soulmate works for FedEx and you shop online a lot. Like, there has to be intentional action, like going out on dates, that gets you the outcome that you want.
Yeah. You mean action spurs outcome?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's basically all 8 of these compiled up.
But I think the biggest problem that people have is they're reacting to their life instead of creating the life that they want. It's a huge problem that I see very, very often.
Yeah, waiting for life to show up to them so they can react to it.
Yep.
I hear a lot of the white knight fallacy. Oh, it's okay. Whenever X happens, I'll make sure Y happens. Well, no, that's not really how this works. It's the same thing with like health. But relationships are really the one I think that speaks the loudest, because you can't expect a white knight to show up if you're not acting like a person the white knight shows up for. You know, like, we met each other and I thought, fuck, this is absolutely amazing. This is awesome. But I was also looking for somebody that fulfilled the things that I was needing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the person I wanted next to me in life. You had to be very clear about those expectations. Which brings us to bulleted point number 1. Get clear on what you actually want.
Yeah, that's what I said. First thing,
Yeah.
What do you actually want? What are you trying to create? Yeah. If you don't know, if you don't have a vision, then how do you know if you've found it or not? It's like posting a job, like saying, I need an executive assistant, but not knowing what the executive assistant is going to do.
Yeah.
Right? You have no job description for it. You have no clue what you're looking for. So then you start interviewing candidates and you're just making a decision based on how much you like the person. Like, you don't have any competencies outlined. You don't have any, like, things you're specifically looking for, any values that this person has to have, right? You're not going to be able to recognize what you're looking for if you don't define it first.
Yeah.
That's why anybody that I work with who is looking to meet their soulmate, the first thing I have them do is create a list of what that person is like.
Yeah.
It's like your job description for your husband or your wife.
And that's not pretentious, and that's not arrogant. You're allowed to expect things in your life. You're allowed to expect good things personally and professionally in your life.
It's like a business having a niche and knowing their ideal client profile.
Yeah.
Once you define that, you then know how to go look for them. If you don't define it, you're looking for anyone and everyone who might possibly fit into a category. And it's like, we can actually be more targeted and intentional when we have clarity around what we're actually looking for.
So underneath the subject line, get clear on what you actually want. It says to ask yourself a couple different questions. What does an ideal day look like for me? What kind of relationship do I want? How do I want to feel most days? What kind of work energizes me? And last, what legacy or impact do I care about? What do I actually want?
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a tool, which I think is awesome. Write a quote-unquote perfect day journal entry from the future, 1 to 5 years ahead.
Yeah.
That way you give yourself some kind of framework on what you're expecting and a timeline on when you expect it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I've looked back at previous journal entries and laughed and thought, man, that was 10 years ago. I achieved that 10 years ago. I achieved that 2.5 years ago. Like, I flew past that. I didn't even recognize it when I got it.
Mm-hmm.
It just went straight past. The number 2 point on here is identify your core values. What makes me feel most alive? What makes me most frustrated? Often a sign your values are being violated is when you feel most frustrated.
Yeah. 100%.
Those things should stand out to you and answer one of the questions from the first one. How do I want to feel most days?
Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah.
So what are those things that were being pushed on? What's the red button that was pressed? You can find out what your core values are, so you build a framework of concepts to run your life by, and you can start building the days and the months and the years that you're living in.
Yeah, we've talked about this with the vision domain. Your core values tell you how you're going to get there, how you want to operate in your pursuit of the outcomes you want, right? So mine are fun, learning, achievement, and integrity. So I know that those 4 things have to be present in anything that I'm doing, right? If I'm not having fun, I go to, well, am I learning something?
Yep.
Most of the time, yes. Right? Usually
but it fulfills one if it doesn't fulfill the other.
Exactly. And like a lot of times it fulfills both, right? When I'm thinking about like going to a conference, if the conference is something that I'm going to be able to learn from and have fun networking with other people who are like-minded and growth-oriented, that for me is in alignment. Now, if I don't feel like I'm going to learn something and I don't really have a reason to be networking with the people there, then that probably is not going to be the path for me to go down.
It makes it really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. That goes right into the next subject. Number 3, set vision-aligned goals. These aren't SMART goals. These are identity-aligned goals.
Yeah.
Break the big vision into smaller 1-year, quarterly, and monthly objectives. If I keep doing what I'm doing, will it take me where I want to go?
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that? If I don't understand why this SMART goal exists, it might be smart. What is that? Strategic, measurable, attainable,
Specific. Yeah.
measurable,
Specific.
attainable, realistic, and timely.
Realistic or relevant.
Yeah,
Timely.
That's great.
The ER, smarter. I don't know if you remember when we did smarter goals as a podcast episode.
Yeah.
But the ER at the end is exciting and risky.
Yeah.
Right? So if we're setting goals that align with our future vision, we're going to be far more motivated to achieve those. Now, if we're setting goals because somebody else told us we have to hit X amount of revenue, that has no personal connection to us. Like I have a really good example of this. One of a client that I worked with said, "Hey, yeah, I know we have this 5-year vision that we've laid out. It doesn't excite me." I said, "I get that. Like these are company goals that have been set for everyone on the team, and it's okay that these don't personally light you up. It's okay. We have to be able to connect it, though, to something that is personal to you."
Yeah.
Right? So think about, like, if we hit these goals as a company, what does that mean for you financially? Well, it means that we're all going to be making more bonuses. We're all going to be making more income, right? So then we can start to say, okay, what will I use that extra income for? So if I'm making an extra 20K bonus because we collectively hit our goal, what is that 20K bonus going to equate to for my family? Is that a new home? Is that a lake house? Is that a boat? Is that the RV so we can go camping as a family?
Yep.
Is that our dream vacation? You know, what is that 20,000 to you personally? Because now we can start to make it more personal and have it more vision aligned for us as an individual versus a company's casted vision and goal.
I think that's where a lot of work angst and frustration gets amplified, is we think that the job is supposed to fill us intrinsically. No, the career's job is to create as much income as possible and keep the system running. Mm-hmm. It's your job to figure out how keeping that system running affects me personally or you personally and how that excites you. That's your job. Mm-hmm. It's not your career's responsibility to take care of yourself. It's you.
Yeah.
So yes, there might be some arbitrary goal for the system, but it also benefits you. And you know what? If it doesn't benefit you at all, what an awesome set of data to maybe realign yourself with a business that does. Mm-hmm. That is okay. That's good data. Master your daily systems. This is what came up next. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Ooh, I like that.
I love this.
That's great. That's a quote.
Yes. Yes. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. You are only as strong as the weakest link. And if it's your diet, I'm sorry to tell you, you can only eat ho-hos and ding-dongs all day long for so long before your body goes, fuck it, man, I can't be an accountant anymore because my brain doesn't work.
What are ding-dongs?
What are ding-dongs?
Yeah.
It's a hostess cake.
What is it, though?
It's like a chocolate circle that has no, like, frosting on the top. It's frosting in the middle.
Interesting.
It's like a giant fluffed up Oreo.
Ah.
Yeah. They're not that great.
I never ate them. Yeah. I was more of like a Swiss cake. Is that what they're called?
Strawberry Swiss cakes?
No, not the strawberry.
I would murder some strawberry Swiss cakes.
What were those? Yeah, the Swiss cake rolls. The chocolate ones that were like rolled up with frosting in the middle.
The strawberry with the white cake?
No, not strawberry. Ew.
I murdered those. I had a whole box of those.
No, I would eat the chocolate coating from the outside off of it first and then unroll it.
That's weird.
I know. It was deconstructed Swiss cake roll.
That means it has less calories.
I know.
It's artisan.
Yeah. It was truly artisan.
Yes.
Anyway. Never ate a ding dong.
Create daily routines that align with your priorities. Morning journaling, fitness, focus on work blocks. Track habits that support your goals. I think this is twofold. Track habits that support your goals and track habits that don't. You have to track the things that are going in both directions. When we look at nutrition, if we have X amount of days, say we have 7 days in a week that we're tracking, we only hit 2, or say we only hit 2 of our nutritional needs, our diet program, and 5 of those are not in alignment, you have like a 26% chance of success, which we could say, well, it's better than 0, but we ignore the fact that it's a 70+% chance of failure. You have to log that. Mm-hmm. You have to understand your ratio. It's not just positive. So I think tracking all habits are very important.
That's interesting because I've never really thought about my habits that don't align to my goals.
Those are powerful because they're under the radar.
Yeah, what are mine? Don't tell me. Never mind. I don't want to know.
Do I have a long enough podcast?
Shut up. Why you be so rude?
Listen, this next one's for you. Do the internal work.
Why is that one for me?
You can't outwork self-sabotage. So if our bad habits aren't being tracked, you can't outwork that. It's absolutely impossible.
That's true. Good thing I don't have any bad habits.
Rewire limiting beliefs. Replace I'm not good at this with I'm learning to be great at this. That's okay. Anybody that picks up a weight isn't fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger day 1. But Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger day 1. He was a little kid in Austria, upset because his dad was beating him, and he went to the fucking gym to escape. And he created Arnold Schwarzenegger. He created the biggest figure in fitness ever. He's just a normal dude with a very clear vision.
Mm-hmm.
Address past trauma, imposter syndrome, or perfectionism through coaching, journaling, or therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love how past trauma, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism are the ones that are listed.
That's interesting.
Because perfectionism, I think, is one of the most damaging things in our coaching world that we see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I want to be great at this. No, I need to be perfect at this. Well, that's a dangerous game you're playing there, pal, because you're never going to be perfect, meaning you're always going to hate yourself.
When I started my business coaching on my own, one of the company core values I came up with was peace, purpose, and progress. And progress, and I don't know why, but those 3, I love a good alliteration, don't get me wrong, but those 3 were like the keys to success. Peace, which is exercising acceptance and enjoying the process, right? Finding peace in the process. Purpose, which is being really intentional about your vision, your goals, and then your daily actions. And then progress, which is, okay, what am I looking at? If I consistently look at what's not perfect, I'm always going to beat up on myself. If I look at where I'm making progress, that will continue to fuel me, and I'll want to keep doing it. That's where I'm going to get my dopamine. If I look at what's not perfect, I'm eventually going to give up because I'm not getting the dopamine reward that I need to internally in my brain. And so I'm going to stop doing the things that ultimately are probably working, just not as fast as you might want them to. And if you're not looking for the progress, you're not going to see it.
And action is better than non-action.
Yeah.
Going to the gym for 6 months and seeing absolutely no results yet because you haven't ever worked out, that's better than spending 6 months not working out.
Right.
It's okay. Progress sometimes is just in the form of the action. That's okay.
Well, and you also might be measuring the wrong thing. So I mean, actual example, right? I have been plateaued at the same weight probably for the last 3 months, but I've been pretty consistent with my gym time and lifting and at least getting a couple workouts in a week. No matter how busy I get, I've been hitting at least 2 per week really consistently, 3 times on good weeks, and then also getting a lot more steps in. So my activity is going up, and I'm measuring all those things because I wear my Ring-Con ring, which tracks all my steps. And then I had gotten this Humi Health scale, which measures your body composition. So although the scale is not going down, I step on the Humi Health scale and I can see I've lost, I think, almost 2% body fat and gained 2 pounds of muscle. Was
That's
it
awesome.
1 or 2 pounds of muscle?
Yeah.
So truly, it's canceling each other out because I'm losing fat and gaining muscle. And the thing that I was originally looking at to measure progress, the scale, was telling me I wasn't making any progress, but I knew I was doing the right activities. My mindset was shifting. I was starting to enjoy the gym a little bit more because I had Stephanie, my workout buddy, coming with me, and I felt great about getting more steps in and being active and finding little pockets to take another lap around the office or take the long way into work and get some extra steps on the sidewalk. And just little things I was starting to appreciate and enjoy because it felt like progress to me. So if we're not getting the progress we want from one measurement, you might need to factor in some other metrics so that you can find progress. When you know you're doing the right things, you have to look for it.
Well, the one thing that I'm always curious about is how many individuals we work with and I see at the gym or wherever that just had absolutely no expectation for resistance or setbacks. They just thought they were going to embark on this journey down the fitness world or realm, and they were going to be absolutely perfect at the outcome, and the outcome was going to be short. Time frame was short, outcome was going to be awesome, and absolutely nothing would get in their way.
Yeah.
It's like, well, duh. Of course you get all thrown for a loop because that's how life works. That's just life, man.
Well,
I remember starting a training routine and breaking my finger in the same day. Day fucking 1 of my routine, and I break my finger.
Good job.
You know how many things you can't hold on to whenever you break your finger? Everything,
Yeah.
especially a weight. That means there was no deadlifting, no squatting, no overhead pressing, and barely any benching. That's the entire fucking routine. It's gone until my hand heals, which means I'm set back for another 3 weeks.
Yep.
But that's just part of the game. You have to understand, I'm not good at this yet. I'm learning to be great.
Well, I think the other thing we have to draw attention to is consistency is boring as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Very.
So if you are the type of person that likes variety, you're going to have to get over it. And
I love it when you say things like that.
I was that type of person that loved variety. I loved spontaneity. I like, randomly going out to eat when I hadn't planned on going out to eat. But at the end of the day, that disrupts my consistency for all my other goals. Yesterday, I ate out 3 out of 3 meals.
Yes, you did.
And I knew it was going to fuck up my consistency. I knew it. I accepted that when I did it, and I made good choices throughout the day. However, I know it was a step in the wrong direction.
Well,
ultimately.
This is where this next point comes in very loud and very pointed. Surround yourself with the right people. You become like the people you consistently interact with.
Yep.
You have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
You become the group. That's not because you're weak. That's not because you're dumb or manipulatable. That's just how humans work.
It's neuron mirroring, which we've talked about in previous conversations.
Even if you don't want to get real granular with anything in the mind, think about how you frame expectations for moral constructs. What's acceptable? It's only based on the people you're around. It's only based on the society you're in. It's only based on the culture that you grow up in or you decide to be a part of. Those are all built up of people. So if you surround yourself with certain types of people, you become those people. Or at a minimum, you think it's okay to flex in that direction. So it becomes normal. That's why whenever shock rock came out in the 70s, where Alice Cooper was like biting the head off a snake and Ozzy Osbourne was eating bats and shit, people were losing their mind. It's like, oh my God, this is crazy. And now that's like so dumbed down. We just laugh at it. It doesn't bring any shock to anybody because nobody cares.
Yeah.
But it took 20 and 30 years of that consistent type of action for people to just ignore it. So you have to be careful. Build a growth circle around you with people that challenge and support you. One of the things I tell guys or gals that compete, especially in bodybuilding, well, hell, any sport, if you get up there and you fail miserably, the number one thing you should think of is, who are my friends that allowed this to happen? Who wasn't honest with me? I had a buddy go up and compete in a bodybuilding show and got absolutely murdered. I hadn't seen him in like 3 years. Shows up at this show and he goes, man, that was rough. I said, yeah, it's because you have shitty friends. If you'd have asked me, I'd have said, you're 16 weeks out. You started prep when you stepped up on this stage. It's like, yeah, I guess I should have listened to the people that were being real.
Yeah.
As opposed to the people that are telling me what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Good friends tell you what you need to hear. Bad friends tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because they're lazy as fuck.
Yeah.
And they're not going to push you because they're not pushing themselves.
Yep. I think that one is probably the biggest one. If your friends and the people around you are not inspiring you, it's time to seek new inspiration. Like, I love working with the team of people I work with at McGuire Sponsel because they're all very driven, very growth oriented, have mastered some aspect of life that I have yet to master. And I get to learn from these really successful, smart people. Like, that is why I chose to let go of being my own business owner and go work for an organization, because I knew it was going to level me up. That's the kind of people I want to be around.
Well, that's the kind of people you have to be around if you want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we've noticed over our time of owning this business, just to give you a short time frame, is the jettison of friends, the jettison of people and places. Like, we've moved on from several relationships just because the energy level and expectation of that friend group we surpassed. And we started pressing them and they didn't want to be a part, so they left.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
I lost a lot of friends when I stopped drinking alcohol. And I am okay with that because I also made a lot of friends. It brought me closer to the other people in my life who don't drink.
Well, it brought you closer to the people in your life that were there probably to begin with, some of them.
Yeah.
That you just didn't have a relationship with because you were on a different level.
Yeah.
You were vibrating on a different energy wave.
Yep.
So once you changed your personal energy wave, you didn't resonate with your current friend group.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean you've moved on and you're some kind of asshole and you're better than them. You're just different.
Yep.
You want different things. If you have a friend group that challenges you and presses you, you won't run out of time with them. Mm-hmm. If you have a friend group that says, don't worry about it. Why don't you come hang out with us this weekend? Why don't we go drinking again? I know you're on a diet, but I know you usually go to the gym, but, or you get razzed by people. I have a client who said, well, I can't bring a gallon jug of water in. People think I'm a freak. I said, fuck yeah, hopefully they do. Hopefully they do, and hopefully they tell you, because all the people that tell you, you can just fucking avoid. Mm-hmm. Those people don't need to be in your life. and they're going to tell you, which is so cool. They're going to bring it up and they're going to say, hey, this is the reason why I don't belong in your life, and I'm going to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, man. Great set of data. Take a fucking hike, you know? Stay adaptable but unshakable. I think that's really cool. Hold your vision loosely, but your values firmly.
Yeah.
That gets
good.
me really jazzed. Life changes. Adjust your path, not your purpose. Anybody that has kids knows, Jesus Christ, that path changes instantly every day for a very long time. But at the end of the day, you're still trying to raise good fucking humans to be good, profitable, productive humans in America, right? Or the world. That is the overarching vision. How you get there is going to change a little bit. That's why we use the analogy when we talk about vision and goal setting of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Your vision's the peak on the mountain. You don't really necessarily know the path. You can't see it yet. You haven't gone from the sand on the beach to the rocks that are a little bit higher, and you don't even know what it looks like to be in the forest, and you sure as shit don't know what it looks like to be in the snow, and then you definitely don't know what it looks like to be above the clouds, but you know you're headed there. So just relax a little bit about not having all the answers. Like I tell my kids, be a little bit liquid here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't know what's going to show up, but that's okay. We're still headed in this direction. Just be liquid with how we get there.
Yeah. I like the phrase, be married to the mission, not the method.
Yeah. And review it. What's working? What's not? What needs realignment?
Yeah.
And if it's not working, that's okay.
Well, and it might not be working for a reason because it might have been a distraction path.
Yeah.
And it might have prompted you to look for a way to pivot and go a different direction or get there in a different method, right? Because the way you think you're supposed to get there might not actually be the correct path. And it's just a step in the right direction that's going to point you towards the things that you need to actually be doing.
Nobody will ever sit down and tell you, I can go ahead and say this with 100% certainty. Nobody's going to sit down and say, in my 20s, I knew what my 40s were going to be like.
No.
Nobody. You might have a general idea, but you know what it looked like to be there. You have no fucking idea. But because you have no idea, and that's a verbatim, we can make plans, we can have ideas, but we need to be fluid. We need to understand why we're going where we're going. What's the vision? Because goals are going to realign themselves. I know that I've had mountains of goals in front of me, but I've had to realign myself aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
I tore my ACL. That put me back 3 years of progress in just one movement. That's not counting all the other ones, but it helped me reframe a little bit. But if I look at my path through fitness, it is nowhere near a linear progression. It is not a line.
Yeah.
It is a haphazard back and forth, aggressive changes. But it has led me because the whole overarching goal was to be the strongest version of myself.
Well, it's like the stock market.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to see daily dips and increases, but in general, from the time the stock market started, right? It has only gone up. So I that's the trajectory that we really need to be paying attention to, is like, what's the average through line in the long term? And sometimes when you're in the short term, in the day to day, you can't see how far you've come and where you need to go because you're in it.
Yeah. Can't see the forest through the trees.
Exactly.
But that's okay. As long as you know which way is north, just keep fucking heading that way, pal.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be okay. Last one on here, I think holds a lot of power. It might become a t-shirt. Take relentless, imperfect action. Relentless. Ugh. Just stay on. Just keep fucking moving. Like I was telling you with the girls when you have kids at the house. You just got to keep moving, man.
I know.
You just have to keep moving. There is no point in time where you can sit and do nothing. It's not just you. So keep moving.
I know. That was kind of the biggest shock to my system, I think.
Yeah.
I was realizing
Yeah.
it's nonstop work.
Prioritize progress over perfection. And this is huge. And this is, I think, where people get absolutely misaligned when it comes to progress or building the life that you want. This is a game of micro wins.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a game of huge, massive 3,000% progress wins. Just because you're making a 1% change doesn't mean you're not making progress.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it means you're making the ample amount of negotiable, manageable, changeable, usable, implementable progress.
Yeah.
If you changed 3,000%, if you went from a tricycle to a Ferrari, that would be way too much. It's too much to handle. You're not the person that can drive a Ferrari yet. You have to build that motherfucker. So in order to build it, you have to understand you're probably the child on a tricycle right now. You have to grow up a little bit. You have to understand how to ride a bike. You have to understand how to drive a golf cart. Then you have to start going through the progression of life to understand why these things matter. Then apply that.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't get caught up in the I need all the wins or none of the wins.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a shitty lift. Keep lifting. It's okay to have a shitty time at work. Keep going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember, God, I think I've had thousands of shitty days. I had 2 this week. Just really didn't feel like lifting. My body kind of hurt. Just silly shit going on. Lots of work happening. Got some huge changes coming up. My brain's all over the map. I just didn't feel like pulling or pushing. And fuck it, man. This is what I signed up for. This is who I am as a human. This keeps me grounded. Whether or not I want to be there, I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
And you just keep showing up.
I was mid-lift during my squat the other day and almost fell over because I got a little bit like starry-eyed and I was like, ooh, I am 10 pounds away below where I should be with this lift, and adding another 10 pounds today feels very, very heavy and like slightly unmanageable.
Yeah.
And I chose to just keep the weight as is and have kind of a mid-level shitty workout day. It wasn't my best. It wasn't my worst. And I knew, like, going back to the rule of thirds, if you haven't listened to that episode, that's a good one. For maintaining perspective, I was like, I think I'm just in the middle third today.
Yeah.
And that's okay because I'm still here. I'm still doing the lift. I'm still working through my program.
But how do you reframe what's going on in your life? How do you actually find out where your bad habits are? How do you find out what's going on that's in the negative that needs to change unless you pay attention to that data and run through that process?
Yeah.
That's the way computer programmers work. They put something together, run it, and find out what's broken.
Yep.
You go back and fix the broken things and then run that bitch again and just keep running it until you get it.
Yep.
So I'm going to do a little workbook for this and we're going to attach it to it. I think this is a very important set of rules that I would love for our listeners to have. We're going to start a compilation of this kind of stuff on our website.
Mm-hmm.
So be looking for that. Anytime we have large concepts like this that will come with a workbook, we'll put it on there. We'll let you know that it'll be there.
On the Odyssey store page.
Yes, on the Odyssey store page.
Which we already have some cool shit on there if you haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah. T-shirts, mugs, the mug of resilience.
Uh-huh.
And some training guides,
Yep.
a couple of books. We also have supplementation.
Oh, yeah.
So 6 different supplement packages that are built by yours truly. So,
Based on your goals.
well, based on goals and based on necessity. There's no fillers in these. It's exactly what you need because these are the things that work. So
Check them out.
Yeah, check them out.
Sweet.
Boom. Big results come from small, intentional actions.
And that's why we're taking on the 1% challenge, a simple, actionable step to get just a little bit better every day.
No excuses, just progress. Let's do it. All right, the 1% challenge. This goes along with creating the life that you want. You have to reframe, and sometimes to reframe, you have to slow down. One of the best ways I've found to slow down before speaking engagements, before coaching clients, before training clients, before lifting, anything that's going to raise my excitement level or energy level or bring in a little anxiety is breathwork. So we actually wrote a book called The Breath Book. It's on our website underneath the shop page.
Yep. Go to our store.
Our challenge is to do a daily breathing exercise or read and implement the breath book.
Love it. Go woo-saw your way through the week.
Yes. And the way to utilize this is just like I said, anytime any situation that's bringing on any anxiety, just apply the breathing methods before it. I think there's 3 or 4 in the book. Use the one that works for you.
And what I love about the book, one, you wrote it, which I think is cool, and you break down why this is important and why it works.
Yes. You have to have a why behind the action.
So you've all heard somebody say, well, just take a deep breath. Why? Why does that work? Why is that like rebooting our system mentally? Go read the book. I think it's what is it? Less than $5?
I think it might be $5, $10.
$10? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good use of your funds, I promise.
Digital download, put it on your Remarkable tablet, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
If today's episode challenged the way you think about resilience, we want to hear about it.
Connect with us on social media at Odyssey Resilience. Let's keep the conversation going.
Keep pushing forward and getting 1% better. See you next time.